With movies like The Odyssey, Avengers Doomsday, and Dune Part 3, Spider-Man was still my most anticipated movie of the year. I have been a Spider-Man fan for as long as I can remember. I think I might have been a Spider-Man fan for just my entire life. I don't remember ever not being one. And I've been a Tom Holland fan since he entered the MCU. His Spider-Man just feels like a perfect fit. He has the attitude of Peter Parker. He has the creepiness of Spider-Man. He's more acrobatic than Tobey was. I think there's some things that Andrew does better as Spidey, but overall, Tom Holland has been an incredible Spider-Man since he was introduced. So I went to see the movie over the weekend, and I wanted to talk about what I liked about the movie, what I didn't like about the movie, some spoilers, and then give a final rating for the movie. There will be chapters in this, so if you want to skip ahead, especially in the spoiler section, I would definitely recommend it. Now, in the trailer, we learn a few things. Spider-Man is hunting down a threat that they cannot see. Somebody is jumping from body to body, and we assume that is Sadie Sink's character. I mean, it is Sadie Sink's character. I don't even think that's a spoiler. We know that the Punisher's in it. We know that Spider-Man gets organic webbing, something that I wasn't entirely sure of because I wasn't a huge fan of that in the Tobey Maguire movies. And we know that he is going through a change. We see his eyes turn black. We see him fighting the Hand, which is a pretty big reveal. We see him fighting the Hulk, which is a pretty big reveal. We see a lot of stuff in this trailer. So to get into some stuff I loved about this movie. The web swinging is probably the best web swinging we have seen in any Tom Holland movie. Same with the fighting. The fighting was incredible. Both of them are very fluid, fast, like precise, just incredible use of web swinging and fighting. It feels very much like the PlayStation games that they came out with, which Tom Holland said he has played a lot of, so I think there is some inspiration in these movies from those video games. The costumes for this movie were also just fantastic. The Spider-Man costume is my favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man costume. It is up there for my favorite Spider-Man costume that we've seen in live action. The only one that's in the running is Andrew's from TASM 2. That was just an incredible costume. It's just so loose on him. I love the lenses that you can kind of see through them. It's just a really well done costume. The colors are great. The lines are great. There's small imperfections with the mask and the rest of the costume. And it makes it apparent that this isn't a CGI costume. This is a practical costume used on the set. It was incredible. The Punisher looks really good in this with his vest. I do wish that they would let him go like the all-white skull, like they did in the TV special that Disney Plus released. Sadie Sink looks incredible in this. All of the villains look really good, like Scorpion and Tombstone. They all look great. The Hulk looks incredible in this, no pun intended. The Hulk just looks really good in this movie. Just incredible costuming. Props to the costume department. They did a very good job here. Acting, I think everybody did a good job. This might be the best Tom Holland's ever done as Peter Parker. His performance was just incredible. He did such a good job. I keep saying incredible. I'm so sorry. I'm very excited about this movie. Zendaya did really well as MJ. Again, Ned was really good. Jacob Batalon did an amazing job as Ned. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I really hope so. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Sadie Sink did really well. John Bernthal did really well as Punisher. He always does well as Punisher. All of the side characters did a good job in this movie. I loved the movie. Like the acting was just really good. The runtime did not seem too stretched out, which is good to me because it was a relatively long movie. It wasn't too long. Let me see what the runtime was. So it was about 2.5 hours long. It was 2 hours, 25 minutes. So not an incredibly long movie, and it didn't feel like 2.5 hours. To me, at least. I think the runtime was really good. This is one of the most emotionally driven Spider-Man movies. Obviously, if you have seen the last movie, everybody has forgotten about Peter Parker. He is dealing with the ramifications there. He doesn't know his friends. He doesn't know his allies. He just feels alone in this movie for the majority of it. And that's kind of a key point to this movie, is that Spider-Man is alone in this movie. The flashbacks and everything you see throughout the movie, which I don't think is much of a spoiler either, are really well placed and well timed, and I just love the flashback scenes. They did a good job with those. Now let's go into some negatives, because I think the rest of my positives are all going to be in the spoiler section. So for a few negatives, I do think the villain could have made more sense. I'm going to get that out there right now. I didn't hate it. They did a good job incorporating the villain into the storyline. I will explain more in spoilers how the villain could have made more sense, but it was an odd choice. And sometimes odd choices are necessary to kind of throw people off. But the villain was an odd choice. I think the overall villain was not a bad choice. There are a couple of villains in this storyline, but the main villain was a bit of an odd choice. Another small negative, it's not really a negative, I just thought it was a funny thing. The Samsung phone placement in this movie is crazy. My wife didn't know that there were a bunch of BMWs in the movie because there's also a partnership with BMW for this, but she even brought up that there were so many Samsung Fold phones. Like, does Samsung think this is going to push the Samsung Fold like into a new popularity? Spider-Man is a huge movie, and you can tell that because opening weekend worldwide it did $900 something million. It almost broke $1 billion worldwide opening weekend. My theater was fully sold out like a week ago. It's crazy how many tickets this movie has sold. But God, man, the Samsung Fold just doesn't seem like it's where it's at. Those are my only two negatives that I can get into right now because, like I said, some of this stuff is going to be in spoilers. So we are entering the spoilers section. If you do not want anything for Spider-Man Brand New Day spoiled, just skip past this or end the video. Either way, I would rather you skip past it because it doesn't hold retention as much, but you can end the video. That's okay. I don't mind. So, into spoilers. We're going to start with the positives again, although I just left that little bit of a cliffhanger in the negatives. We're going to start with the positives again. I hate organic webbing. I've never been a fan of it. I don't like the instances it's been in the comic books other than during the like man spider story that was just so weird it was funny. I don't like organic webbing. The way they pulled it off in this movie was great. First off, Peter Parker should be a little bit disgusted when he squeezes his wrist and just webs come out. It looked gross. I liked that he kind of had to relearn the strength and everything required to use the webs, relearn how to fire them because it wasn't like a mechanized thing. I loved that. They did an incredible job with that. I liked that his eyes got black anytime he went like full spider mode. The enhanced strength was really cool. Overall, the entire transformation part of this movie was great. He builds an inhibitor chip to make it so that he doesn't go into that full spider mode. He doesn't have the organic webbing. He can just use his web shooters because that's what he's used to. Spider-Man has been Spider-Man for a few years now, and he's gotten good at it. You can see in the montages that, like, he's gotten really good at being Spider-Man. He's incredible. He's beaten so many villains. He's filled up a prison. But he's just a good Spider-Man at this point. And then a wrench is thrown into the mix, where he has to relearn new powers. He's an adult Spider-Man relearning how to be Spider-Man, and that scares him. And I can understand why that's the case. So I love that he has to go through this entire process. He builds an inhibitor chip to block that part of him. And eventually realizes that the inhibitor chip just isn't the play. This movie feels like it's a lot about him accepting himself as Spider-Man. He's lost important people in his life. He doesn't want to lose more important people in his life. But he also understands that without those important people, how do you do this job? How do you be Spider-Man without someone to love, without somebody to want to protect? So he still wants to protect people like MJ and Ned. He wants to work with people like Frank Castle. Like, this is where Spider-Man kind of realizes that the sacrifice is just part of it, but that doesn't mean he should shove people away. And he realizes that he needs to accept his new powers, which I think is just a big part of the character overall. He knows that these new powers make him more dangerous, but he also knows that they make him more effective as a hero. And honestly, it means he needs to make less web fluid. That can't be a negative, right? All of the scenes with Punisher were incredible. I love when he's shooting at the Hawk and trying to stop him. But I also love when he gets possessed and blows up that door. And you kind of see that side of Punisher again where he is incredibly deadly because he shoots like 3 people in the head. Like, the Punisher did an incredible job in this. John Bernthal did an incredible job in this. The Hulk was a great character in this. Bruce Banner, I mean, not Bruce Banner, but Mark Ruffalo did a good job as Bruce Banner and as the Hulk, and we get to see that Savage Hulk again, which was really cool. I do wish we had gotten to see the scene where he recognizes Peter Parker. I think that would have been great. I think he kind of did. It seemed like that in the moment to me, but I'm not quite sure. All of the Jean Grey scenes were done incredibly well. I love seeing her freeze like the entire town and everything. Her levitating the glass was really cool. Like, Jean Grey was just an incredible character in this movie. We'll get into the negative in a moment about her, but he was an incredible character in this movie. The fight against the Hand was just so good. Him using his organic webbing and like that spiral thing was sick. Him blocking sword shots with his arm and them shattering was really cool because his skin had just gotten so tough. Like, it was such a good scene. I loved seeing him fight like the grunts, like just normal guys with guns and just wrapping them up and everything was really cool to see. Like, you got to see him be a street level hero in this movie in a way that you haven't gotten to in a long time. And that was really refreshing. I think a lot of the time we treat Spider-Man like a top echelon hero, which isn't untrue. But like Yelena says in this movie, he deals with the small potatoes most of the time. The Avengers might ask him for help dealing with the bigger potatoes, but a lot of the time Spider-Man is dealing with the small potatoes in New York. He is dealing with bank robberies and stuff like that, while the Avengers are dealing with galactic threats. Now, I'm going to go into negatives. I have glazed this movie a lot. It is an incredible movie. None of these negatives are big deals to me, but I am going to talk about negatives. So, first negative, I don't think Yelena was completely necessary in this movie. I feel like they tossed her in just to have another cameo. Like, she was good. I mean, the actress always does a good job as Yelena, but like, he didn't need to be in the movie. I mean, he was just a relatively unnecessary side character, but it was a good way for them to show that Spider-Man is still working with the Avengers, even if it is the new Avengers. It just felt weird to me. I mean, that might just be a me thing. I don't think she was completely necessary in the movie. Secondly, before we get to the big one that I mentioned earlier, I don't like that the montage of him beating his side characters was so short. Tombstone is in the movie for like 10 or 15 seconds. Arachnid is barely in the movie. Like, there's a bunch of side villains that are just barely in the movie that I think it would have been cool if we got to see them fleshed out a little bit more. Scorpion got a decent amount of time. He probably got like 10 or 15 minutes in this, but the other side villains just got less than 30 seconds each, I think. And that was just kind of weird with how much they pushed it in the trailer. I thought it was kind of odd. Now, with the trailer, I want to talk about the trailer. My wife says that some people might not have looked into it as much as I did, but I think the trailer gave away too much of this movie. As soon as they said that the Hand was working for the Department of Damage Control, I was like, oh, he fights the Hand in the trailer. The Department of Damage Control is the villain. I knew immediately that Jean Grey was not the big bad guy in this, because Damage Control controls the Hand, and the Hand fights Spider-Man in the trailer of the movie. Like, obviously, Damage Control was the bad guy there. Same with like the Hulk transformation. You see him fighting a small Hulk in that Damage Control building, like the smart Hulk with like the vest and everything. In the trailer, you see him fighting the Hulk that is massive. And in the trailer, he says I didn't know you could get that big line. So I knew as soon as we saw the Hulk that he was going to lose control and become the bigger version of himself. It kind of got spoiled by the trailer. Like, there were just small things that I wish they hadn't revealed in the trailer. You can reveal like Bruce's arm turning green or his neck turning green because that's in the movie. Don't reveal that he is the big Hulk. I think maybe Marvel was trying to make up for people saying that the Hulk hasn't been scary enough in the last few movies. But I don't think that was necessary. You guys shouldn't have shown as much with him. I think it would have been a better reveal that way. But I do think Marvel has problems with revealing too much in the trailer. I don't think they should have revealed Red Hawk the way that they did in the Captain America trailer. That was also just a big misstep because it shows you the moment he becomes the Red Hawk for the first time. So the entire movie building up, you know it's not going to happen yet. So I wish they hadn't revealed as much in the trailer. I think it would have made it a little bit better. Now, to the elephant in the room, Jean Grey. I said earlier I didn't think that the villain made sense. I want to explain that for a second, but I love Jean Grey. I love the X-Men. I think it's weird to introduce a main X-Men, one of the founding members from memory. I think it's one of the founding members, right? Jean Grey is a founding member of the X-Men, isn't she? Yeah. So Jean Grey, it is weird to introduce one of the founding members of the X-Men as a villain in a Spider-Man movie. Like I said, I love the X-Men. I love Spider-Man. I love the team-ups. I love when they fight each other. I love the entire thing. I think the end where she is on a bus going through the woods could be a nod of her joining Xavier's school, because it's in upstate New York, surrounded by woods. I think there's a possibility that it is a nod of that. But I still think it's a weird choice to introduce her as an X-Men villain. Introduce the first X-Men as a villain. If you're not counting the Beast cameo, this is the first X-Men. The Beast cameo and Gambit, I guess. This could be counted as the third X-Men, but that's not the point. More than 3. This could be counted as an X-Men introduced. I forgot there were a bunch of them in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm on a tangent right now. She is the first main X-Men character not from a multiverse introduced in a Marvel movie, and she is the villain of the Marvel movie. And I think that's just an odd choice. It is also weird to use Sarah Grey as a mutant that got captured by damage control because she's a super powerful telepath. I had to Google this to make sure that I wasn't wrong. Sarah Grey doesn't have powers in the comics. I understand it's a cool storyline to take if you want to make her a more interesting character to Jean's background. Sarah doesn't have a mutation. It's kind of a big part of the comics is that Sarah isn't a mutant and Jean is a mutant. But that's just a small gripe. I think it was fine the way they used Sarah. I liked the whole VMAX thing, but it is odd to introduce Jean as the villain. It's also odd to introduce Jean as the villain as having her jump between people in possession, possessing them, because I don't know if she can do that. So Googling, it says that she is a very strong telepath, which means she can read minds and she can influence people. So she could make people do stuff. That's not how it's portrayed in this movie. It is portrayed as possession, so it's kind of weird to have her doing that. But I think by the end of the movie, it is a more accurate representation of her powers. She's levitating a bunch of stuff. He fully freezes everyone in the tracks. She has erased memories in the movie. There's a lot of powers that they got right. I just don't feel like I've seen her possess people in the past. If I'm wrong, and you know of a comic book where she's done this, let me know. It just seemed like an odd way to introduce the most powerful telepath. She is at least up there. She's one of the top 3, if not the most powerful telepath in the Marvel comics, especially the X-Men comics. So I just think it's weird having her possess people instead of just... It's weird because they point out that it's not mind control, and she does know how to mind control people using her telepathy, so I don't know if it's not mind control. I mean, it seems like it maybe should be mind control. I don't know. But Jean was just an odd choice. Like I said, Sadie Sink did an incredible job as Jean. He did really well. The movie did a good job with Jean. I think Spider-Man is the perfect character to talk to a character like that, who has experienced loss and has an insane amount of power that she doesn't know what to do with and is going down a darker path. Spider-Man is just good at talking things out with people because he's the stereotypically good guy. Spider-Man's just a good dude. I have probably been rambling for too long. Most of my review videos don't last this long, especially if they're unscripted. but I loved this movie so much, so we're going to give it a review. Out of 10, I'm going to give it a 9. I want to give it a 10. I think there's a few small flaws with the movie. This is going to be my highest 9 this year. It might be a 9.5. Honestly, by the end of the year, it might be a 10. This is maybe my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie. Or, you know what? This is definitely my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie. It's been a toss-up for a long time now. I love a lot of Spider-Man movies. Especially, I like the Andrew Garfield movies. They did a good job with them. I think sometimes they get too much hate. They did a good job with the Andrew Garfield movies. They did a good job with the Tom Holland movies. I am not a big fan of Tobey Maguire. I don't like Tobey. I think his movies are good. His movies are good because of the villains. Doc Ock and Green Goblin and all of those guys, Sandman, they put out generational performances. I don't like the Spider-Man in those movies. I understand people are upset about that. People have a lot of nostalgia tied with that character. I respect Tobey. He kind of got us to where we are with the live action movies. He did an incredible job in No Way Home. I just don't like him as Spider-Man in his original films. So, let me know in the comments, did you guys like this movie? Was it all that you had hoped for? Were you upset about the villain choice? Did you get too many things spoiled by the trailers for you like I did? Are there things you think they could have done better in the movie? Are there things that you think they did an amazing job with? Just let me know your thoughts about the movie in the comments. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say in a much shorter way. So thank you guys for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm sorry for rambling so much. I recommend everybody go and see this movie. It was incredible. A lot of people already have, I guess. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope everybody is having an amazing day, a spectacular day, however you want to say it. And until next time, guys, peace.